All right, we're on the air. This is the usual bi-weekly e-NABLE Hangout. There's only 3 of us online at the moment, but I figure some other people will join us as the event progresses. How are you guys today?
Good. How about you?
Not too bad.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
I haven't seen you for a while. It occurs to me that we've never gotten you a device, have we?
No, and it's mostly my fault because I haven't been able to figure out a way to get a casting done of my arm by myself without getting somebody else to help me. So this holiday might be a good time for me to try to do that, since there will actually be more than a couple of people in the house.
Right. All right, cool. Well, Nick Parker, as I live and breathe.
Hey, John.
How are you?
Pretty good. Back at home. Finally got some time on my hands.
Oh, you're back home. Your mother must be delighted.
She is indeed. She's cooking me dinner right now.
Oh, there you go. I guess a day without a Parker is like a day without whatever. All right, so we were just starting up. Skip, you've got some show and tell, right?
Yeah, I do, and there might be some others joining, so I think I'll wait for the show and until we're sure we have a quorum.
Well, then,
okay. But I could start with some of the telling. Fellows, in case you haven't been following the saga, I have developed a version of the Raptor adapter using the Raptor hand as a terminal device for a standard prosthesis that has the claw that is harness actuated. For a small child who lives in Mexico, his parents left us a prosthetic arm that he has been using with the claw and the harness, and asked that we make him a hand. He wanted an arm with a hand. And after some help from my friends, we came up with a variation of the Raptor adapter that we'd been playing with, so that we could put it over the top of his existing prosthesis just as a separate terminal device. And it really worked real cool. And so we finally shipped it off a couple of weeks ago, but we had the address wrong. And so it's lost. It's lost, and it's almost holidays, and I'm just totally distressed.
But Skip, we haven't heard that it's lost. He knows the address it went to.
Well, whatever, you know. So I'm starting to think I'm going to accelerate my program to get him the next version of an arm, one that is independent of his existing prosthesis. And so today I finished my Raptor adapter design for the Raptor Reloaded. And I'm going to try to hit a home run and use that for Will Hayes' next arm. And so that's my plan. And I'm soliciting help from somebody who can do some printing for me between now and the end of the month. Because I'm out in the boonies.
Well, I saw that someone, was it Bruce, offered to make a deal with you? There's a message in this evening that I think is offering to print for you.
I'm hearing myself repeating what I just said.
Well, that's gotta hurt. So are you hearing us?
Where the recording came from.
I don't hear any echoes at all.
It's about 10 minutes of conversation. Just.
Do you have the video showing in another window?
Possibly. That must be what's going on. I'm going to start closing windows.
Yeah, look for one that's got e-NABLE R&D Hangout in the title that isn't your current window.
Okay, I've just closed all my Chrome windows except V1, and I think I've solved the problem. Thank you very much, Troll.
Yeah. It's real easy to do. The the YouTube video is sometimes too easy to accidentally start it.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me before. Sometimes I can't make my computer shut up. So anyway, I think I can probably get some help from Bruce Davies or Jeremy or somebody that's willing to work over the holidays for a worthy cause. So what have you been up to, Nick?
Nothing particularly e-NABLE related. I've been doing school.
School, yeah.
Yeah, bit of a research project. That's most of it. Over break, I'm probably going to fool around with that mill that I still got laying around in the garage, try and make that actually work. It's, apparently all the big high-power stuff works, so it's just some sort of logic issue, my dad claims. He's been tinkering with it. Yes. It's a very nice garage.
Hey, Elizabeth, how you doing?
Well, look who's here. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hey, Elizabeth. It ends up being a boys' club a little too much in these R&D Hangouts, so I like to try to get a couple of girls online.
All right. Oh, man, suddenly we better behave, right? How are you, Elizabeth?
Hello.
Hello there. Nice to see you. So I'm going to be bailing in 15 minutes, and I think Skip is waiting for...
All right. So I'll get my show started, John, if everybody wants to see my latest activity on the Raptor Adapter RIT arm. I'm going to take off my earphones so I won't be hearing you. I'm going to try putting on my harness and showing you what it looks like. I don't know if you can hear me, but
Yeah.
here we go. I have to remember what goes where. This goes over the shoulder, and I know this little thing goes behind my tricep, so I get it right here, and I got to figure out a way to get this thing behind my back. So, shoulder actuated. Little demo.
Look at this.
Have you got differential drive on that?
He does.
That's great.
So, this is actually a regular old-fashioned Raptor hand on the end of a variation of RIT arm. So I'm going to sit back down and put my earphone on so I can talk to you and hear you.
Yeah.
So there we have it, and you can see I've got the Whipple tree. Trying to get in front of the camera. The Whipple tree tensioner. That's one of those adaptive tensioners that you got us started on, Nick and John, and then our friend Steve Wood had this great innovation that a lot of people are using successfully now, and this is my version of it that's published, and so I haven't heard anybody else trying it, but I'm really satisfied with the way it's working. And
have you taken a close look at this variation on the Whipple thing?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Skip, if you move slowly, I'll just point out that it's just one triangle. It's got those two studs there, and the studs act as pulleys. So it's actually got quite a few degrees of freedom in it. It's basically two fingers are pulleyed with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
The other two fingers are pulleyed with each other.
Yeah, so it's to the same effect as the really early one Steve had that had 3 parts, just less.
That's right, but now it's just
less
one
rigid
part.
bits. Yes, that's very smart. And so you've got, what do you have there? You have, okay, so you have 4 channels. So you have the thumb alone, I assume.
The thumb is alone.
Okay.
And I have
Thumb alone, pointer
a feature
alone.
built into. I have a feature built into my adapter that lets the tendon from the thumb go around a smooth, round surface. You can see that if you look at the
Can you lift it a little higher?
files.
Yeah.
Slow down. There you go.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Ah,
That's useful.
So the thumb is not a part of the Whipple tree system, but it can be tuned independently and works very, very satisfactorily.
mm-hmm.
I've got a pinky finger that's needs a little attention. The tendon's not pulling as well on it as it is on the others.
Very
So
cool.
at any rate, I've got a lot of new things going on, and I'm really pleased with my progress, but I don't have it all together yet. So I've started publishing some things just so some other people can be playing with some of the things I'm playing with. There's so many parallel activities that a lot of our members or volunteers are doing. So I want to share what I've been doing with the rest of the community too. And like I said earlier today, I just published a preliminary version of the new Fusion 360 Raptor that Andreas has done for us. And so I've got an adapter that will go on an arm just like this. With the new,
this is Raptor Reloaded adapter reloaded, right?
it's ready to make a test print, and so I'm looking for help from somebody to print the adapter and the palm for me at 100%. That should fit Wilhay. If we can get it in green filament, he'll be a happy kid.
That's great.
Shame I'm not still at Cornell. I have green filament set up in the printer there. I haven't gotten it in California.
We'll all be back to upstate New York pretty soon, so
A month or so.
I'll stay in touch with you, Nick.
Okay.
So, by the way, Skip, the last time I picked up one of your models, I was playing around with your little, what I'm calling your whip pulley, right? Because it's got a pulley and a whipple arrangement.
Right, right.
And I'm pretty much convinced that, except perhaps for that curved thumb guide that you have, that the thumb line, if it looped into the whipple and then pulleyed out again, then when the thumb tightened, if the thumb was the first thing to resist, this whole triangle would move towards it.
Yes.
Right? The thumb would contract and it would drag this over. But dragging it over, if you get the pivot in the right place, will not necessarily produce differential finger movement. It will just pull on all the fingers. So it could be that your one little device, but with one more pulley for the thumb line, could serve all 5 digits.
Yeah, that's worth playing around with, John. You always have great ideas. I've had some disappointments trying to make things like that work. Some of the things that I've done need a spacer between the whipple tree and where the thumb filament connects in order to tune the thumb. And I've also experienced some problems with the thumb filament interfering with the swiveling of the whipple tree. And so you know, it's definitely ripe for experimenting.
It's sort of like stringing mobiles. It gets very complicated, even though it ends up looking very simple.
Right.
So,
I think I actually like. Sorry. I think I actually like the current version better than one that has the thumb pulling on all of them like that. Because right now, it sounds like you've got the pointer finger and the thumb kind of linked together. So when the thumb stops, the pointer will start moving twice as fast as the other fingers.
Not true. Not true.
No?
Now, right now, the thumb is a singleton, and it's these two fingers, these sets of fingers that are tied together.
Oh, I wouldn't have.
Do this.
I think.
See, I can hold the pointer finger back, and the index, the second finger will move in its stead because of the Whipple tree.
Okay, so the thumb's on a totally separate thing. That's interesting.
But
So,
we work on it.
Let me see if I'm envisioning what you're describing correctly, John. You're thinking of putting another pulley on the bottom side of the. Oh, using draw. That'll help. You're thinking about putting another pulley on the bottom of it that you can just run the one thread up through the pulley and over to the thumb, and then the top two pulleys each control two fingers.
I'm sorry, I was so busy trying to be able to draw you a picture that I didn't really hear what you said. Do it again, because I failed on the picture.
One tendon line going up and over the bottom pulley of the triangle and over to the thumb, and then the two top pulleys with a string each controlling two fingers. Is that how you're designing it?
Here's, yeah, I
Here
think
we go. I got my
that
diagram.
might be what he was describing.
Everybody look at Trouble here. Okay, so this is what he's got, right?
and Trouble, hold very still, because that is actually tied to your face, as it turns out.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
It
do
is.
that.
Try moving.
Okay, so there it is, right? And then there's this thumb off here. And my claim is that if, for example, there were another pulley here.
I'm not seeing the illustration.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. And you're not going to get to, so that's just the brakes. We have to look at your computer. But for the other guys, my claim is that if the thumb were part of this scheme, then, and here, if Trouble were to move his head, when the thumb was tightened, the whole triangle would shift towards the thumb, but the mechanism would still work for the fingers.
Okay,
Sadly,
so are you saying the thumb tendon loops over a pulley and becomes the string that goes back to the harness?
yes, I am, actually.
Okay, now that failed for me, I believe, because of the distribution of forces. You've got your main cable is pulling on 5 fingers, and you've got one block and tackle that's just going to the thumb. So that thumb is balanced against 4 other fingers, and it's the only one that's going to move.
You got me there. Okay,
So,
anyway, you're the expert
so
on
that
this.
thing that you were working with, Nick, and I think somebody else has followed up with something that looked like it was a working model of your strings that go up and down, up and down.
Oh, yeah, that was rather
Steve who did that.
No, that was me. That was rather overcomplicated, though. You mean the one with sleds inside of channels?
Right. But that would end up needing to pull 5 times as much string with your harness.
Yes, indeed.
As the current version. So.
Yeah, a late version of that had a 5-to-1 pulley system added in to flip that or even it out, but it was very overcomplicated. So wait, with the picture that John's drawn here, I think if you put okay, how do I describe this? So just using the 4 strings, I think if you just merged the pinky and ring finger, so you had these two just links together, moving at the same speed, and then on the other side of that pulley you had the middle finger, and then the second pulley was the pointer and the thumb. I think that would work really, really well, actually, because when you're grabbing something, it's probably best to kind of stabilize it with a pinch before actually grabbing it.
Yeah.
And that's what that would do. You'd hit with the thumb or with the pointer finger, and then the other side of that little pinching motion would close down real quick.
Very good, Nick. That sounds great. I'm going to
Yeah.
try that at first
And
opportunity.
then the rest of
I
it
can
close
even
up
do
after.
it with the hand that I have with me. So I'll
Yeah,
try
you just
that.
change the
Thank
strength.
you.
Sounds great. With that little nugget of knowledge, I guess, I've been told to set the table, so
All right.
I don't know how long it is after
You're
that that I get
excused.
to actually eat.
Thanks for your thoughts.
Yep.
And stay in touch. Have a hangout with me sometime.
See you, folks.
Bye.
See you later, Nick.
No, that was a great idea. I can play with that. I think we all agree that having some kind of adaptive grip is a very, very good thing. And there's
You
a
bet.
lot of ways to try to get there. But I think for the shoulder harness arm and for the wrist-actuated gauntlet and palm, it's a real plus. And the little triangle that I've been playing with is very simple and very easy to assemble. It makes it really easy to string up a hand. And so I'll follow up with more documentation of that over the next couple of weeks. But, you know, I think we're getting somewhere. And I love Nick's idea. I'm going to try it.
I have another thought.
I have to bail.
If you had a separate pulley attached to the gauntlet rather than to the arrangement that was on the off thumb side, would that compensate for the tendency to pull to the thumb?
It absolutely would, and that's worth trying also. Trouble. I'll think about that. Running two strings back to the gauntlet and having them to work in opposition to each other. That might not have the problem of the 4 against 1 that it was concerning me before. It's try it rather than try to theorize about it for me.
Experiment instead of guessing. I was hoping to get Adam Arabian to join us because I really want to see that that falcon hand and see that rotatable thumb.
Me too. That looks so good in the video. And it's a whole different rotating orientation and direction of rotation compared to some of the other thumbs that I've seen anyway. The one from Ali in Guatemala, Ali Lemus. His pivoting thumb is very appealing to me. It's located more or less like the flexi hand thumb, but it pivots to be parallel to the palm versus in opposition to the palm.
Right. Yeah, I like that arrangement. It almost becomes another finger pulling against the palm when it's rotated back.
Right.
But
that's the really optimal for grasping a key or holding something in that kind of a grip. And also, I think it's very good for holding a knife or fork as an eating utensil. And I am not satisfied that works out for somebody that is using the prosthesis. It worked very well for me in my little experiments on myself.
I actually had a thought about the thumb.
Okay.
Because I'm working with a thumb that is already there, but I'm thinking if I can get my hand the right way. It rotates. I'm rotating it more like this.
Okay.
It's rotating along this pivot point.
Okay.
So it still opens for grasping something, right?
Yes.
but and then it closes for more of a pinch grip also.
Yes.
But
that's kind of like the pivoting thumb that I was playing with on the earlier Raptor hands.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so we can compare notes when I get back to RIT. But yes, that worked very well for me, and I'll be interested in see how it works with your recipient.
So I'm on the right track.
Well, it's certainly worth trying. By the way, Liz is working with an orthotic exoskeleton for somebody that has all the hardware, but it's not the muscles are not hooked up due to some brain surgery, was it, Elizabeth?
Yeah, hemispherectomy. It's with I've forgotten her name now. She showed up in one of these a long time ago, and that's how all this got started.
Maybe.
I actually have to run again. Dinner's ready now. See you, people.
All right.
Bye, Nick. Stay in touch.
I'll talk to you later. Another thing I've been thinking about, I've talked about it a lot. I've had no thumb for like the first 12 years of my life until we rebuilt this, what was originally a useless joint, into being a thumb. So a lot of my stronger grips have always been with abduction, adduction, with pinching from between the fingers.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of things where I'll slide one finger down and grip it, and that's normal flexion differentials between the fingers.
Yes. So you're using your first finger like a thumb.
Yeah, and I've always used my index finger kind of like a thumb, or my any pair of fingers can pick things up.
Right. Right.
It's the way you adapt when you don't have the extra joints and stuff like that. And it's also occurred to me that there's a lot of things that we do where we grip between the fingers, like holding a key to put it in a lock and twist it.
Yes.
So I was wondering if it would be possible to slightly rotate the hinge in this joint so that as the fingers rotate down, they come together. So like they pinch as part of the flex.
It would certainly be easy for the flexi hand to do that because of the way their hinges work. And that would be an interesting experiment to try for sure. And especially if we have somebody that's capable of doing a lot of printing and has a recipient that could try several versions of the hand as a test, that would really be great. So I'm looking forward to doing the flexi hand at RIT. I haven't seen anybody print one yet. And we can do it by molding the silicone joint devices, right? And just printing in ABS or PLA until we get the capability of printing with the flexi.
I'd love to have dual extruders so that I could print with flexi and with ABS, or with flexi and with PLA at the same time. That would be fun.
I just recently looked at Steve Wood's tutorial on printing with Filaflex and NinjaFlex, the rubbery filaments. And there's some things that you need to do between the hot end and the driving gear.
Right. You got to make sure that there's no gap.
No room for it to buckle up.
Yeah.
And, so he's got good advice, and he's the expert. And we just haven't modified our printers to be able to do that yet. I've got some material. I'm having a lot of fun using the Filaflex and the NinjaFlex as elastics, but I haven't printed with them yet.
Yeah, they look very strong as far as using it for elastics is concerned.
They really are, and so we'll keep exploring some of those things too. Have you tried using them on your orthotics, Elizabeth?
I have not had access to Philiplex yet.
Oh, I've got some I'll be happy to loan you. Or give you.
It sounds so fun.
It's really good slingshot material.
Yeah.
Which I think is the next thing we need to put on Picatinny rails for hand adaptions.
There you go. Yeah. So there are a lot of clever people in our community that are doing a lot of innovative things. And one thing that you need to think about as our leader of the R&D Hangout Trouble is think about some way to try to organize some kind of a review of what's going on in the community. John Schul's done an excellent job of trying to show what the RIT arm and all its various variations and components fit together in kind of a bubble chart thing. And so we can try to build on his idea for that kind of visual presentation, perhaps. And it'll be multi-layered and many-dimensional.
Maybe do a new update of his evolution of the e-NABLE arm chart that he posted.
Yes, and expand it beyond just the RIT arm and all its variants and contributors, but all the different kinds of flexi hands, falcon hands, talon hands, cyborg beast, and all the versions of the Raptor, and so there's a lot to keep up with, and the best practices that we can pull out of all of those is kind of up to the R&D community to try to sort that out. And I'm kind of overwhelmed right now. I'm going to try to use the vacation time to catch up on my reading.
That's been my problem. I've had new product rollouts in 3 countries over the last couple months with our water truck that we designed, and my job involves dust abatement in large mine sites. I write the software that allows the water trucks to be controlled.
Wow.
And so we've just recently installed a set of water trucks in Chile and in Peru and in Australia near Brisbane. And then we're also doing a lot of water trucks up in Utah. They're pretty cool, and it gives me a lot of opportunities to think way outside the box, but it also means that since I'm the only developer at this company, I've been very busy over the last...
Needless to say, congratulations. That's a real achievement, and I look forward to learning more about that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Let's do a personal hangout and give me some links and stuff. I'd like to see what you're up to.
We'll chat at some point. A lot of it isn't... Actually, a lot of it's starting to be online. We've had somebody redesigning our website that actually puts interesting stuff up, but yeah, it's not terribly relevant to the R&D stuff, but it has been eating up a lot of my extra time. So
sure.
And I need to get back into the 3D printing design because I've got 2 printers, and one of them I'm trying to get it built up and updated and working really well so that I can give it to my nephew as a Christmas present, and I've got a couple days to try to get back on it.
All right, you better get busy. What kind of printer are you trying to fix for him?
It's a Makibox, the MAKIBOX.
Okay.
They're one of the really
not
low
familiar.
price build it yourself kits. It was like $500 when I bought it, but they're about $300 or $400 at the moment. So they're really low price 3D printer kits.
Is it a rep-rap derivative, basically?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Most of the kits are.
Right.
One of the neat
printer
things about the
Makibox
is that Laird Popkin has designed a lot of the upgrades that you can print for it.
Great.
So he's somebody in our community, so if I have questions, I can go and ask him, and he's usually got really good answers.
Excellent. That's good to know. You got any show and tell for us, Elizabeth?
I don't have a whole lot, but I actually did get a thing yesterday. I was really working on this so I can design some stuff while I'm home. But I have a hand frame, sort of, and this bar here. Oh wait, here, sort of, which is going to close this hinge,
Okay.
sort of. All the sort of. What?
That idea.
This was Alex's idea. He's over my shoulder, like.
All right, you got to give credit where credit's due. Hi, Alex.
Uh-huh.
So, so it would work. It lays flat and kind of hovers over top of the knuckle, and then the hinge is way back here. So you
Okay.
have all of this leverage here to actually make
Okay.
the force go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think it's working kind of like an over-center toggle, which is very clever. I like that. And so all of the fingers work together in opposition to the thumb and palm. Is that the way you see it, Elizabeth?
Right now, yes.
And that's very useful to your recipient, I think. So that'd be
Yeah.
great if it works.
Does that location for the hinge cause the bar to ride or to slide along the fingers, or does it pretty much
does
stay at the same spot?
It actually does slide a bit, so open, it's way up here on the fingers, and closed, it sits further down.
Halfway through?
So there is a bit of sliding, which it'll be very padded, and I might be able to change it, try to change the shape so it doesn't rub along the side of the knuckle at all.
Or if you just wrap something like a ring that's the length of the finger that it could slide against instead of sliding against skin would probably.
Right. Yeah, if you could even make a roller of some kind.
Yeah. A roller would be nice.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe with the sleeve over a rod.
Right. That would work really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a nice experiment. Look forward to seeing where it goes.
Yeah. I like the area arm. It's a really, really nice design, or a really, really nice start of a design. It's got a lot of interesting variants for it too.
Yeah. It's a project.
Yeah.
And we're a lot of us, for various kinds of projects, we're interested in the normally closed. Do something to open the grip.
Right. We've had a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah, that's the way the old-fashioned prosthetic hooks on a harness work, with rubber bands holding the hooks together. And of course, that doesn't require you to exert any effort while you're carrying something.
Right.
And so that's a good design for like riding a bicycle or holding an oar or something like that. You hear people talking about specific terminal devices for those kinds of things.
That's kind of how my hand is set up. The tension in my tendons is tight enough that my fingers just sort of stay clenched. If I put something in my hand, I forget it's there, and I don't. Right. And it's the same idea. You know, I can hold something and
the effort is to let it go.
Yeah, I have to flex. I have to use my other hand to flex my fingers out of the way to let go of things.
Okay, but you know what we're finding, and it may be why your hands are working the way they are. It is very hard for us in our e-NABLE hands that I have been playing with to get enough leverage to pull against a rubber band holding a grip.
Lift back to lift the pull against the rubber band.
And Elizabeth said she found that with her orthotics also. So
Would it be possible?
Andreas is supposed to be working on something to help with the physics of that, getting better leverage, and we'll see what he comes up with.
Yeah.
I wonder if. Oh, go ahead.
What I found is if you can bring the line of action, like for here, if you can bring the line of action out, like I've got these big like rings that sit between my fingers.
Yes.
And that actually brings the force more this way, so it pulls like almost perpendicular to the fingers.
Pulling out.
Yeah, pulling out and around, and that actually will help open the hinge.
The leverage.
So something like that could be incorporated into the existing prosthetics, maybe.
Yeah. Have you documented your progress on that, Elizabeth?
No.
Well, now you got a project before school starts back. I think that's a very important finding, and I'd appreciate it if you find time to show us that. That's really cool. I've seen some of your prototypes, and I think you're onto something.
Yeah, photographs and annotations can do a lot for making how something works very, very clear for other people.
Okay.
I like taking photographs and putting them into something like Sketch or just any image editor and drawing things to show where motion goes or labeling the parts or things like that. And
yeah,
that could be a very simple way to do documentation.
I use Preview on a Mac, and it's just really easy.
I'll definitely work on that over break.
All right, thank you.
The other question I was thinking of, we always have you're trying to push back with the hand for extending the fingers if you're doing a normally closed. What if you ran the tendons the other direction so that flexing forward opened and pulling and letting it rest back with the rubber band closed the fingers? It's the opposite.
Actually, I have done some experimenting with that, and I'm running into the same problem of the leverage on the posterior side of your hand that you get trying to extend is not good. It's amazing that our knees and elbows work at all to me.
Right, but I mean, if it's a normally closed, the rubber bands would be pulling your wrist back, and then extending forward, opening your hand.
Yes.
It's not the normal grip, but I think that the leverage would be easier, not more difficult.
Yeah. I think what you're pointing out is that you might be able to get a lot more pull on your tendons with that wrist movement.
Right. There's more strength.
My notion is that it's even if you pull the tendons harder, like I can do with the harness and the shoulder harness, it's not enough with the moment that we have around the pivots and the knuckles. It's just not enough leverage. We may be using stronger rubber bands than we need to hold something too, just like you're able to do with your hands. You can hold a can of soda without any effort, just from the elastic tension that you've got pulling your
all the effort is in my shoulder, not in my hand.
Right. So we may be doing an overkill with the rubber bands and elastics when we're playing with the normally closed, but doing what Elizabeth's doing and what Andreas is talking about doing with trying to improve the leverage is a good thing to try.
I understand the reason for the overkill. You want a strong grip, and if the strength of holding the things is from the rubber bands, you want it to be strong. But yeah, you got to walk a line to make sure. All right. See you, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining us.
Goodbye. Point out that Peter Binkley has just published something that I am very excited about. It's kind of like what John's been calling the push me, pull you.
Right.
No elastics, but you get like the RIT arm is capable of doing. You get flex tender. Yeah,
Right.
and that looks beautiful. So I can't wait to experiment with that some myself, and we'll see where that goes. The nice thing is that you take away the resistance that your elastics for flexion are using to hold things. Oh, and the other thing to mention that just as to review the things that we're looking at, having a locking mechanism when you grip, if you could lock the cable in the grip position, you can also relax your gripping mechanism. And so Debbie Ling has this notion of using a clicking ballpoint pen mechanism. You push down and you push it again and it pops up. You know, we might be able to do that. Yeah, do that with a shoulder harness, so that your first action will cause a grip, and you repeat that action to make it release, and you can, in a controlled way, release what it is that you're gripping.
The RIT arm, where it's for people who don't have the wrist action, it's all elbow controlled.
Right.
So
we're playing with those things, and we don't.
For the wrist action, having you could have a release when you do something like that.
Yes.
You lock it by tipping one direction and release it by pushing the other.
Good thought. So there's an opportunity, some fun experiments and inventing to try to make those things happen. Encourage you to do that.
Yeah. Oh, this cough is starting to drive me insane. I had a cold a few weeks ago, and the cough hasn't gone away.
Oh my. Yeah, it's that time of year.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do? Want to try to wrap up here? What are some other topics are in the near future that we need to try to deal with next time?
I don't know. I'd like to see the Falcon hand the next time. I'd like to see some of the hands with the rotatable thumbs that have been designed again lately.
And I inquired of Adam's recent posting about why he gave up the 3-jointed digits, and he had a good explanation for that. So, getting his or one of his students or some of his students to give a presentation like they've done in the past would really be great. So see if you can sign them up for next time around.
Let's see what I can do. Let's see.
And getting Binkley to show his flex tender thing would be great too.
That's one of the problems I have, is I tend to work a later shift, mostly because I value the time when there's nobody else here so that I can work on the stuff I'm working. But that means that I start my Hangouts a lot later than I probably should. And that's bad for you guys on the East Coast.
For us old timers that are early to bed and early to rise guys.
That too. But I'm also a Western time zone, so that also adds to the problem.
Yeah. So we can have separate meetings when we want to involve our friends over in the UK and other places around the world too.
Well, also just getting Peter Binkley to join us would probably help if we had an earlier meeting.
Right.
And I might have to do that sometime soon.
All righty. And we also, this meeting has a conflict with the Raptor Monday meetings sometimes too. We can put them back to back. I think they're trying to start the Raptor meeting at 8, so we could go back to back, I think, and do your meeting at 9 and look at that option.
That's been another thing. Is I'm in Arizona, so we don't have daylight savings. So which time zone I'm in differs in the summer from in the winter. And so in the summer I'm California time, in the winter I'm Colorado time.
Okay.
And that can be awkward.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we can make adjustments on the fly, and
yeah,
and a little promotion ahead of time for who's going to be making a show and tell and stuff is probably going to attract some people. But some of us have trouble doing everything we want to do. I don't know how people like John Scholl do everything they do.
I try to make the computer do as much of the work as I can. I've got all of the e-NABLE notifications turned on, and they go into my Gmail account, and then I can look through Gmail and do searches through Gmail to find things. So if people ask a question that I know has been answered before, rather than trying to dig through all the old posts on Plus, I can go into my Gmail inbox and just do a quick search. And
that's a great hint.
Yeah, you can find a lot of results a lot more quickly.
I've got all that stuff on my Gmail too, but I haven't thought of doing a search on information that's in the body of each of those pieces of mail. So that's a good idea.
I filter everything into separate labels, and that helps. So I do a search that's a combination of a filter and a search term, and it finds anything in the body that's related to the search term. And it's Google, so it's lightning fast on the search, and that helps.
Yeah. Terrific. That's a good hint.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Nice work, Skip. And I'll go ahead and wrap this up.
Thank you very much. Good meeting.
All right. Thank you.